Hey everyone, so today I wanted to make a little video talking about anxiety because personally this has been a big problem for me in the past, much in the past now, but it got pretty bad to the point where I didn't even want to leave the house a lot of the time. This is during high school period of time, and I'm hoping that these little tips will help other people because honestly they've helped me change my mindset around completely in over a couple of years basically. And I don't know how I used to live beforehand. I probably missed out on so much stuff because of anxiety, and I don't want to ever say that I'd regret it because it's a learning curve and it still taught me things that I've needed to learn and needed to progress myself, but it has prevented me from doing a lot of stuff that I would have loved to now if I were to go back. But yeah, hopefully if you find these tips helpful, and yeah, let's get on with it. A little disclaimer I did want to make just before I start this is these tips may not work for everyone either. They've what personally have helped me along my journey, but there's also been other factors and stuff that have been incorporated. If you are at a point where you need to seek professional help, do seek it. I urge you to go and ask for help. Don't be ashamed or feel like you need to be embarrassed, or really sometimes there's lots of people who don't even understand that they've got anxiety and they just have like this crippling stress or overthinking or fear of things, and they don't really actually acknowledge that it is anxiety or understand that it's anxiety. So I would urge you to speak to your doctor or somewhere else, some other form of help. There's a lot of online forums and chat rooms that are really good for stuff like that as well. I will link some below. But yeah, I just wanted to get that out there before I start this video. Okay, so the first point I wanted to touch on was actually identifying your triggers for anxiety. And obviously it might be hard if you don't really know where your anxiety stems from, because it can stem from like hormonal imbalances, or can even stem from imbalances in your gut bacteria, because people don't actually realise how much your gut can affect your mood and stuff as well. It can cause depression, anxiety, other mood like fluctuations, but really try and find a good probiotic might be a tip if you can't really figure out where it's stemming from. But also I would recommend writing down a list of things that trigger your anxiety, and it might be a person, it might not necessarily be a specific person, it might just be being around a lot of people, getting overwhelmed. You might not even have specific triggers for anxiety, but start writing down some stuff that stress you out just in life in general. So it could be like workload, other stuff, and it brings them all together just on paper, so you can kind of realise and piece together like, oh, actually it's kind of a combination of quite a lot of things where this anxiety could be coming from. And it gives you the opportunity just to be able to pinpoint them and start tackling them with healthy coping mechanisms, or just taking actions to try and move out of your comfort zone with them, and just seeing them highlighted on a piece of paper. A lot of the times you'll end up picking up on things that you might not have acknowledged in the past, and I think it can be really beneficial just to lay them out. Even if it's something really minute that stresses you only a little bit, add it on there, add everything onto the list that you can possibly think of, and then just go through it, and maybe even rate it on a little scale of 1 to 10 on like how stressed or how anxious it makes you feel, and then obviously prioritize the ones that are higher up on the scale, and then you can move on with the less affecting ones later on, or as you're going along, sometimes combine them together. But once you've got them down, you can just individually start to work on each one and just progress forward. Now also, once you've got those list of triggers or stresses or anything that you've got them written down, I would say try and incorporate them into your life, as in, this is probably more so not for obviously if you've got negative people in your life and toxic people. Obviously try and distance yourself away from them and get yourself away from that situation if that's what's actually primarily causing your anxiety. But if it's stuff like random fears or phobias of stuff, or like social anxiety, start incorporating them into your day and just push yourself out of your comfort zone. Try and do things that scare you more, because honestly most of the time nothing bad's gonna happen. And a quite positive way to look at this is write them down. So what stresses you, what makes you anxious, and then write all the possible things that could go wrong with it. So say you've got social anxiety, maybe you want to go to a networking event but it really scares you because of how many people are going to be there. Write that down as your anxiety, then write all the possible things that could go wrong, or like worst case scenario type stuff. So you know, you could embarrass yourself there. You might say something that you think's a bit silly, or, you know, stutter on your words, something like silly like that, and then just overlook it, that whatever the worst possible scenario is. And then also then on the alternative side, write down all the positives you could gain from that experience. So touching back onto, like, say if you go into a social networking event, for example, all the positives you'll get out of that. You'll have an amazing experience, you'll meet so many new people. Like, obviously it's pushing you out of your comfort zone. You'll maybe even make amazing friends, especially if you're going for business purposes. You might get new clients, or just new friends who are going to help you with business tips or marketing ideas, or even just help promote you with their own little thing. You know, you can do collab stuff like that. But 99.9% of the time, when you end up writing down these like negatives or worst case scenarios, and then all the positives and gains you could get out of a situation, the positives are usually 100% going to outweigh the negatives to it. And most of the negatives aren't even going to matter to you 5 hours from the time, let alone like 5 years from the time. And say it was something silly like stuttering on your words, something like that, or how you think other people are going to perceive you. That other person's got their whole own individual life. They're likely not going to remember or even notice it themselves. So it's just, it's good because it highlights those things and helps you see, like, there's actually not really that much to be scared of at all. Because I think a lot of the time when we do get anxious over a certain situation or going to a certain place, we get that overwhelming fear of anxiety, and we just put all these barriers up straight away, and we're like, okay, we'll just avoid that situation, rather than actually acknowledging why we actually feel anxious about it. We don't even delve into that most of the time, and we just go, no, okay, stop there, instead of actually thinking what is actually making me anxious. And once you've wrote those points down, you go, yeah, but what's the worst that could happen out of them? And most of the time it's going to be absolutely minute, and probably prevent you from doing, if you were to just listen to that fear, it's going to prevent you from doing so many things in your life when you could gain such a good experience from it. You could gain knowledge from it. Just think of it like that. Think of it for personal growth. It's going to be a key tool for that as well. But definitely writing down positives and negatives or worst case scenarios of a situation just helps to put it in perspective and like lay out all those reasons why, rather than just instantly putting barriers up. And you're able just to overview it and think, you know what, there's nothing actually to be that fearful of. I know I can do this and I can conquer this. The next little point I'm going to touch on, I don't think a lot of people would necessarily associate it with talking about anxiety as such, but basically try and incorporate things like you're trying to make a new habit. So like when you're starting a new diet, you want to start doing it regularly, so you try and do it for like say 21 days, whatever, and try and make it a habit. So touching back on like the social networking example, if it's for social anxiety, just to kind of put it in perspective for you, say you end up pushing yourself and go to a social networking event, and you're like, okay, I'm here, and then you realise, oh, that wasn't so bad, and you come out feeling really refreshed and energized and go, actually I could do that again. Why was I so scared? What I mean by making it a habit is do it within a short space of time again. Don't leave it ages before you decide to go to another event or whatever your scenario might be, because say try and do it again the next week, or even within the same week if that's possible, because that feeling of, oh, that wasn't so bad, is still fresh in your mind then, rather than if you leave it like 2 months and then think, oh, there's another one I could go, like another event I could go to there. During those 2 months, you've got comfortable again with not branching out there with yourself. Maybe you haven't, but like, especially when you're dealing with quite crippling anxiety, especially once you've left it that long in between, you get too comfortable again with not branching out of your comfort zone. And it just lets that fear and that anxiety creep back in, and all these what ifs and all these little voices in the back of your head. Whereas if you come out of a situation where you actually feel good and you've conquered something, if you do it again within a short space of time, like trying to create it as a habit, then it doesn't give that fear and that anxiety really much chance to start creeping back in, because it's so close to the time that you've already realised, oh, that was amazing, like I shouldn't have been scared of that in the first place. So definitely just try and incorporate things. Once you've pushed yourself out there once, try and do it frequently. So it could even be as simple as talking to like a stranger or a new person, because say you do that in the street or wherever you are, with whoever you meet, try and do it again within the same day and just push yourself that little bit more, or try and speak to someone completely new the next day or the day after that, rather than doing it and then leaving it like a week and then going to think, oh, I'd like to say something to that stranger, like maybe they look nice, or maybe I want to ask them where they got something from, where they got the jacket from. It could be as simple as that. Because you've left it a good while, you've got that creeping anxiety coming back in, and you probably start to overthink far too much again. So when that thought of just being actually relaxed and calmed about a situation because you've conquered it is there, keep it fresh and keep moving with it forward and progressing with it forward. Don't give it any time whatsoever just to disappear again and move back again. Just conquer it and force yourself to keep doing it consistently once you've branched yourself out there once, because if you leave it far too long, that's when you'll start getting these little fears coming back in and these anxieties telling you not to. And honestly, this is what pushed me out there a lot of the time, because once I started doing that, I went through even like a little phase in my life where I started trying to do pretty much everything that gave me a little fear, and it could have been like the stupidest thing. Like there was a time when I was in the park and I was completely on my own. I'm going to seem like a little bit of a weirdo now, but I don't care. But I was literally in the park and I just had this like urge to do a cartwheel, and then I looked up and I was like, oh, there's people here though, I'm going to look weird. And then I went, you know what? Fuck it. They don't care. They don't know me. It doesn't make any effect to my life. Even if they do have a judgment, who's going to know? It's not going to mean anything to me. So I literally just did a cartwheel randomly, and they probably saw, but it's literally just taking like random little things that scare you like that, push yourself out there. Or even a few weeks ago, like I was on a run and all the cars were going past me on the road, and this is gonna make me seem even weirder. I just saw a tree that I really wanted to climb, and don't know why, but I just really wanted to climb this tree. And I thought, oh no, I'm gonna look so weird to anyone going past or whatever. And then again, I just stopped myself and was like, fuck it, it's my life. Why wouldn't I do it? What do they mean to me? What's their judgment even mean to me? So I climbed the tree. But just little things like that, try and consistently keep pushing yourself and don't let that fear creep in, because the more you do that, the more comfortable you're going to be with just expressing yourself in general and doing other stuff, rather than just obviously doing like a little cartwheel in the park is nothing compared to like going to big events where you're networking yourself, or doing other stuff like, you know, overcoming different fears, even fears of heights. They're bigger stuff, but once you start consistently incorporating them, it kind of like shifts that fear backwards, and eventually it's not even a fear anymore, because you get comfortable with the situation that once made you so uncomfortable. Another amazing thing that's really helped me through my anxiety has been just immersing myself in more exercise, because one, it's a great stress reliever, and two, you get such an endorphins boost from it, and it just gives you so much happiness and makes you feel energized and good. Even through like everyday life, if you're consistently exercising, I wake up so much more like refreshed and energized, and like honestly, it makes me feel like I can conquer the day so much better, and it gives me so much more courage for doing that. And it kind of just takes you away like a distraction as well. So whether you be in the gym or on a run or even just on a walk or doing some stretches, it just takes you away and gives you something else to focus on, away from all these other stresses and thoughts that are going on in your head, and helps you just to zone in on that, take your mind away from whatever else is going on, along with all the other benefits. But it's not just body based, it's good for your mind, your body and your soul, and don't underrate it. And as I said, doesn't have to be anything extreme. Obviously, especially if it's for more stress relief, I'd suggest doing other stuff. But or for even anger, it's amazing for taking out anger as well, stuff like that. But as simple as a walk or little daily stretches, all you need to incorporate. I started doing little 10-minute stretch every morning just to kind of get me in a good clear headspace for the day, and it just benefits my mood so much from point one. And once you're in that mood from the very beginning of the day, you end up usually taking that through the rest of your day with you too. And yeah, definitely get your body moving. It does so much good, better for your mind than you would probably acknowledge. Now, I guess my next point kind of links to the exercise one as well, but it's taking time out of your day specifically just for you and just to engage your mind. So taking time away from any social media or other distractions. And I like to take like a good hour out of my morning, and there's probably a lot of you sat there like, God, I don't have that much time in my morning. Well, maybe try setting your alarm an hour earlier, half an hour earlier, even 10-20 minutes earlier, just so you've got a little bit of time to yourself in the morning. Doesn't necessarily have to be part of your morning routine. You can take this time by even delving into like a new hobby or a sport, hence why it links to the exercise part, I guess, or a new practice. For me, I like making my jewelry with my healing crystals because it just fully engages my mind, or making little videos like this. But you can, if you love reading books, lose yourself in a good book for a while, even if it's just like a little 20 minutes. Or as I said, I'd like to take a little time out of my morning just because it really sets me up for the day. So I'll do like a little 10-minute meditation and 10-minute stretches in the morning when I wake up, just because it lets me connect to myself, bring me back to the present moment, makes me more aware of myself rather than instantly waking up and going on my phone and letting all these other stresses or just factors like affect me from right when I wake up in the day. That's why I think it's very beneficial to do something in the morning where you solely just focused on you and your mind's just engaged on something you enjoy. With the meditation, you don't even have to do long at all. Like, literally set a 10-minute timer, a 5-minute timer, even like 2-3 minutes, just to bring yourself back to the present, become more aware of like the space you're in again. And it's just been so beneficial to me. Like, honestly, it doesn't even have to take much time out of your morning. What I started doing was basically, once I've got a shower and got ready and stuff, I always give myself 10 minutes to let my moisturiser and everything sink in before I start doing my makeup, just so it's all settled and it's absorbed properly. So during those 10 minutes where I'd usually just go on my phone or mindlessly do something, I take time to do something more mindful instead. So I'll just set a 10-minute timer, and it's time I'm literally just would have been sitting about anyway waiting. And I'll take those 10 minutes just to meditate and zone in and become more aware of my surroundings and aware of myself and where I am. And it just affects me so much and brings my mood from like here to here up in the morning. Especially even saying things that you're grateful for during that also takes me through my day with such a different perspective, because once you practice gratitude from the morning, it really makes you appreciate what's around you and the opportunity and the life you've got, and you want to take a hold of it more than just let life pass you by because of anxieties and stuff like that. But yeah, find something where you can actually just delve into and fully engage yourself and just lose yourself in something, and it just does wonders for your mind. Okay, so the last bit that I wanted to touch on was crystals. So one of the first things I'm going to talk about is Blue Lace Agate, and this has been one of my favourite stones for a good while now. It's absolutely beautiful. Actually, last time I went to pick up some crystals from the shop, the woman who owned the shop actually gave me a necklace with this piece on it for free, which I thought was so sweet and heartwarming, but it just hit home because at that time it just been a stone that I was really utilising at the time. But Blue Lace Agate is absolutely phenomenal for calming you down, de-stressing you, helping you let go of those anxieties and just bringing you back to the present and grounding you. But it's also a really great stone for communication, mainly because it relates to the throat chakra. It's great for meditating on the throat chakra. But yeah, whether that be communicating with other people or whether it's communicating inwardly as well. So communicating with others, it enables me to speak more truthfully and more honestly, and helps me with self-expression and just being honest in that and open about that without fear of judgment. And then also when reflecting inwardly, it just helps me connect more to the subconscious side and understand why I do certain things in my personality that a lot of the time I wouldn't take note of, but it gives me a better understanding and helps me to infer things from that more as well. But honestly, I would recommend definitely getting this stone. And I know there's a lot of people who don't really believe in healing crystals and stuff, but I have found them to be such a powerful tool, especially just keeping a piece around your neck or in your pocket and just taking that vibration through you, like through the day with you. And I do make some pendants and stuff. I will leave the Instagram below for where I'm making that if anyone's interested as well. And then the other stone I wanted to talk about, I've got two little pieces here because they're only quite small, is Tiger's Eye, which it's a beautiful brown kind of iridescent stripy colour. But I find this to be such an absolutely empowering stone, which when talking about anxiety, I think that's such a key point to touch on, is finding self-empowerment as well, and not caring about other judgments, being sure in yourself, being confident and courageous, which this stone definitely has amazing properties for enhancing those. And it's just something mainly to focus on, because having that on me makes me feel more secure and reassured that I can take that confidence and I can empower myself through the day, because you have such divine energy in you. You shouldn't be anxious about sharing that with others, because when you put such a good energy out like that into the world, it will be reciprocated. And honestly, that little quote, "your vibe attracts your tribe," couldn't be more true to this situation, especially now that I have gone down this path more, and I've started to let go of anxieties, and I've started to become more empowered and more confident in who I am as a person and a strong woman. It's attracting so many more positive people to your life, which is absolutely key as well. You don't want to take people into your life who are going to put you down or are more judgmental. You should have people who accept you and want to bring you up and see you go up and do better for life and progress. But yeah, obviously if you've got people who are the opposite like that around you, definitely would recommend distancing yourself. But touching back on empowerment, this stone, Tiger's Eye, has just helped me phenomenally and helped me hone into this. I discovered this stone a few years ago when I started getting into my healing crystals and alternative healing more. From like the day I first got my a pendant with it on, it just shifted my energy so much, and since then it's just really hit home for me, and it's always going to be one of my favorite stones now. I think I absolutely love it. But yeah, I think that's all the points I'm going to touch on for today. I hope some of you have actually found this helpful. Even if you don't suffer with anxiety as such, we all get stressed out at times in our lives, and I think just reflecting back on them over some of the points I've said, the way you can write stuff down, and just getting over to being able to view over them properly and dissect them properly really helps you with just handling normal everyday stresses, even if it's not crippling anxiety or just anxiety on a slightly lower level. You don't have to say you've got anxiety to find benefit in this video. It's each to their own. But yeah, I hope it's helped some of you out there, and it's been lovely speaking to you. Love you guys. I'll speak to you soon, my loves.